Okay, hi. Let's build some framing. Go over to build framing. And this tutorial is about dimensioning framing, so I'm not going to spend much time worrying about what the default settings are, but if I was working on a particular plan, well, yeah, I'd want to know exactly how everything is set. But I'm going to not use automatically building. I use build floor framing and build the ceiling framing. We'll build wall framing, and we want to build roof framing. Now I'll just use the default settings. Now we want all those layers on because we're going to be working with them. Okay, so there's a big gobbledygook of a bunch of framing. Let's take a look at it in the overview camera. You can see that everything's there. There's the floor framing, the ceiling framing, wall framing, roof framing. When you're doing a framing plan, I never use 3D like this. I mean, I think I have a couple of times. I had worked with an engineer that liked 3D details, and so I worked those out. But normally you're doing stuff in 2D. The first thing is I'm going to turn off all these layers of framing that I'm not particularly working on right now. And so we'll go down to framing, rim joist, we'll leave that on. Floor joist, I'm going to turn that off. Ceiling joist we don't need. I just want a roof framing right now. Yeah, now we just have rafters. And you can see some wall framing. So how do we dimension this stuff? Well, this is unrehearsed, so we'll just find out what works and what doesn't work. I'm going to use the end-to-end dimension tool and just get a dimension to form somewhere. It's not forming. You zoom in and see if that helps. That does not help. Oh, I'm surprised that doesn't work. Let me see if I've got. Let me check my edit default settings. Not default settings, edit preferences. Edit, and then behaviors. Okay, I got all the snaps on. Okay. So that's not causing a problem. I should be able to draw from a dimensional point to a dimensional point. For some reason that it's not working. Oh, I'm surprised. Let's this is just for walls, so that probably won't work. No, that's no good. Well, you mentioned point-to-point dimension, and that will work because it creates its own points as you draw. But I'd recommend that you zoom in so you can hit the center point of the okay. Now that's accurate. And it's accurate because I zoomed in to make it accurate. It would be, I agree with you, easy to move this point, you know. Of course, if you measure from one side to the other, that's also accurate. We can move those points. See, and it still says 2 feet. If you want to go center to center, then just put those points in the center. And the points, you can select them independent of the framing. Okay, I must have missed it a little bit. I'll move that point to 24 inches. Okay, so that seems to work, so let's just stay with that. And that's point to point. We'll go left click here, and then we'll just get a dimension point there first, and then zoom in and move it to the center of the framing member. Yeah, I'm off by 1/8 of an inch. Well, I know that I'm off by 1/8 of an inch, so we'll just set it to 24. There's nothing inaccurate about that. That's perfectly accurate. And let's select that tool again. And the key to using the this tool is to zoom in so you can make sure that the point is where you think the point should be. Now there's two framing members here, and I missed the, I went to the middle point between the two. There. Okay. So those are spaced 24 inches on center. You could also just, instead of with these dimensions, you could just write 24 OC. Oh, boy, am I fumble fingered today. 24 OC. You know, that would suffice too, because I've already verified that that's the way they're laid out. So there's no magic involved. There's just using the tools that you have available and making them work. Now from here to here is probably not 2 feet, because from there, so I would move that point over here to get my 2 feet. Now let's see, let's put a point there. There's not that kind of point. Let's see, I want that kind of point, yeah. Okay, there's my point there, and I'm going to move the dimension to that new point. And then click on this point and move it over to the center of that framing member. Now that one's on the center over here, so we'll just click on the dimension and set this to 24. Actually, that doesn't look right, does it? That's going to the edge. Tell you what, I'll just delete that framing member. It's throwing me off. That's strange. The spacing here must be different. Okay, if you want everything even, we can just click on this and I'll move it over here to the right until it snaps to the center of that point. And then we can click on this framing member here and then use this extend tool. I'm assuming there's an extend tool in Pro. Doesn't look like there is. Okay, we'll just extend it manually by just clicking on it and extending it. So you can add text, you can add dimensions, and you can manually edit all this stuff exactly to the way you want it. Like even these wall studs over here, you can click on them and select them. See, I just selected that one. We'll move that over there. Just for fun, just to do so. I'm not saying that's the way you would frame that, but I'm going to say if you want to frame it that way, you can frame it that way. In terms of these studs, and of course these are obviously 24 OC, but so again you could just copy some text down there and say that these are 24 OC blah blah studs, or If you have to dimension them, then you can dimension them. And it looked like these point-to-point tools are going to work. See how it snaps to the center of that piece there, and then left click and drag to the center of the next one. So bingo, that works fine. It's not very automatic, but it is workable. And let's grab that additional dimension point tool and drag it to the next one. Now on these wall studs, it's working. The first one I used the point-to-point tool on, but now it's extending. And you see it'll snap to one side or the other or the center. So if I zoom in and put it in the center, that's where it'll go. The main thing is to get a dimension there and then zoom in and get it exact. There's 3-dimensional points on most objects. One surface or the other or the center. Okay, all right, let's do an elevation. It's much easier to do in Chief Premiere, but you can do it in Pro. We'll just turn off the layers that are in the way here, covering up the framing. And turn off, I'm going to hit the R key to go to roofs, and we'll turn off roof planes. And we'll turn off roof baselines. Of course, that's not a 3-dimensional object, and we want to go down to walls and turn off walls normal. See why that gets us. Okay. And so we've got this layer here with gutters on it, and I forget what that is, but anyway, we'll find those layers. It looks like moldings. I need to turn moldings off, so I hit the M key and go to, there it is, moldings. That'll turn off the base mold that is turned off. Now, we want to find roofs again. There's the gutters. Turn those off. Ridge caps. That's what this crap is here. See? That must be a ceiling surface or something. All this stuff is on layers. Let's hit the C key and go to ceilings. Ceiling surfaces, maybe that's it. Yeah, that was it. Now we'll start turning on some of the stuff we want to see. This looks like this is walls, foundation. Going on to walls, foundation. See, it's checked, and we want something that says kind of floor. So we'll look under the F's for floor. Yeah, I don't want to see the footings or floor surfaces, or footings posts. See if I take care of that. Okay. Now let's turn on the layers that we do want. We'll go to the F's and framing wall. I think I want to see that. Framing wall, there it is. And there's my wall studs and my bottom plates and top plates. And we'll go over to here and find the framing roof. Yeah, roof stuff is what I was interested in. There they are. That's plenty for this view here. And this stuff is dimensionable. And I recommend zooming into what you're going to dimension. Okay, obviously I'm off a little bit here because it's off by a 1/16 of an inch. And it looks like to me that's not quite on the center. I'm going to move that over a little bit. I think that's pretty well centered now. And we'll click on this and set that to 24. But it looks like that's what the centering is, yeah. So you can do this. I'm not particularly saying it's easy to do, but it is doable using the tools that you have to hand. I suppose we could even do angular dimension. I've never tried that on framing. Let's try that. No, okay. There's nothing for me to. It's not picking up on picking up on that. But you could just draw a couple of CAD lines, one there and one here, and then dimension those. Yeah, there you go. So you can do just about anything you can think up, but you just have to persevere and make it happen, because the software is not going to make things happen by itself. It's just a machine, and you tell it what to do. So I guess that's about all I wanted to prove here. That you can do it. You can do it accurately, and it just takes a little patience, and it takes zooming in to make sure that the points you're selecting are the ones that you need to select.